Good morning, Legacy viewers. Today I'm bringing a recording that was made in August of a World War II veteran of Tobruk and a prisoner of war, Butler Van de Vyver, who sadly passed away at the age of 102 at the end of September. This recording was made by Elize Rogers of the Imonti SADFA branch. Thank you for that, and I hope you enjoy.
They were prisoners of war, and they'd stopped next to a house. And there was a German soldier just standing on the side. And there was an Italian soldier who was asleep on some steps leading up to a house. And two prisoners of war were walking around. And when he woke up, these prisoners were laughing and pointing at something that they'd seen on top of the house. That was funny, and were pointing. And the Italian thought they were pointing at him. He picked up his rifle and he shot the prisoner that was pointing. The German took his rifle and he just shot the Italian straight away. Nothing was said. No comebacks, nothing. We got onto the truck. We went on the way. The German, well, we just left him there and we went on. No comebacks, no nothing. End of story.
So tell me about your time at Dale.
Pardon?
Your time at Dale when you were at school. Were you a head boy? Good rugby player?
When I went to Dale, I was a little picky that weighed 110 pounds. I was nothing. I went there instead from Car Road, what I call Car Road College. It was Car Road School. And I went there to Dale Primary in Standard 6, I think it was in 1934. And I was there for, I think, 2 years, and then I went to Dale Senior. And I went there till matric. When I finished matric, my father was a farmer. He bought another farm, and I went farming at Amabili. He had a farm at Car Road, and then he had this farm at Amabili as well, and one at Rossarding. I don't know if Rossarding is on the way to it's the first stop about 5 k's on the way to the Transkei. It's a sideline, railway line on the way to the Transkei. It's the first stop where they used to leave the post bags and all that sort of thing there. Anyhow, then I was on a farm that he bought it near Mabili. Then war broke out and I joined up in the Sister Brigade, which was a mounted regiment in Ladysmith, Natal. And while they were there, they wanted some signalers because we were going to go to Abyssinia, which is where the war was at the time. Excuse me. Well, off I went with some others, and we were training as mounted signalers. We were going to go as mounted. And while we were there, the Italians surrendered in Abyssinia, so that was the end of us going up as mounted signalers. So instead of going back to the mounted, most of us stayed on as signalers, because it was no use going back to mounted. Some went back. They said no, they don't want to be sick. So we stayed there, and eventually they wanted a batch of signalers to go up north. I happened to be one of them, and we went up by boat. We went up north by boat. I forgot to know. I know the name of the boat, but I've forgotten it. But anyhow, we zigzagged up and down. Back, I think we took about 3 weeks to get there. Zigzagging. We stopped on the way. But anyhow, we had a good time on the boat, that I'm sure. And on the boat was the boxer. He died just the other day. South African boxer. And what man? Damn it. He was a good South African boxer. I can't think of his name now.
Not the one of the 2 wheels.
He was from near the Free State. He died just the other day. Oh, well, anyhow, we landed up at the L1, which was the base where all the South Africans went there that didn't have units to go to. We landed up there, which was the main base, main South African base. And you got sent to wherever they wanted people, you were sent away from there. Well, eventually I landed up with an artillery regiment. And the chaps were from the Transkei, 1st Field Artillery Regiment. I knew a lot of the chaps. I was at school with them, Arthur Lucas and Jimmy McCready and Roy Howe. So, and then and that was in the front line at a place called Kozala in the desert. Then suddenly they wanted people at Tobruk. They wanted a few reinforcements, and unfortunately they sent us. Well, we were there 10 days, and next thing our Roma said, all right, my friends, I need you as well, and he took us with the rest of Tobruk. All the chaps at Tobruk. Tobruk had a perimeter of 32 kilometres right round. The chaps on the other side didn't even know that Tobruk was being attacked because they were there and we were here. They attacked here. At the right-hand side, the chaps at that side didn't even know Tobruk was being attacked. Well, he attacked at 5:30 in the morning. At 12 o'clock, it's finished, it's over. Well, I was a signaller, so I knew what was happening all the time. Next thing we knew, that German tanks, there were 6 of them there, lined up. And they'd taken over the headquarters of the British artillery that was supposed to be defending that area, not Tobruk itself, but that particular area. And I was in charge of the radios. And I told the Tobruk chaps, I said, well, yeah, this area has been taken over by the Germans. And they said, oh, well, it's been done. That's okay. And I sat there, and this one German who could speak fluent English. And he offered me his mug of coffee that he was having. And in the middle of it all, a dispatch rider arrived from theirs. He gave him a thing, a dispatch. They didn't even finish their coffee and they were gone. Because the chap, he could speak fluent English, and I was going to chat to him. And as I say, they got this message, I suppose, because they were the advanced troops and tanks. And there I was. Anyhow, it was quite an experience. Well, after that, we could hear somebody had a wireless, and it was blaring forth there, and we could, excuse my language, and I could hear a voice making a noise there. It was coming over the loudspeaker. And eventually this voice was coming closer and closer to where I was. And it was a British chap. When he got to me, I said, so you're this chap that's making this blinking noise here. He was scrounging to see where he could open anything and get money or anything. If ever I gave a chap a mouthful, I gave him, because then he was shouting, oh, it's over there. Anyhow, we went on. I went on my own, and I found some chaps that I found, some more South Africans, and I stayed with them. And stayed with them for a while, and eventually a young German fellow in a truck came along and he said, come on. He was a civilian, funnily enough. And he said, come on, get in this truck. Well, I got in front with him. And he was fluent, he was in civilian clothes, and I got in with him and he started talking in English. I said, well, what are you doing in civilian clothes? He said, no, I'm a student and I'm studying the situation here. So, well, and he was driving a 3-ton truck and picking up prisoners. Well, honestly, he was a decent guy, and I was talking to him, and he said that he's not interested in the war. He'd rather be at home with his girlfriend and all this sort of thing, you know. And we were chatting and all this sort of thing. And eventually he said, well, I'm afraid I'll have to hand you over now.
Was he the one who pointed out Rommel to you?
Pardon?
Was he the one who pointed out Rommel to you?
Yeah, he's the one that pointed. I'm sorry, dear. He said he would like to see Rommel. General Rommel, and he took me. Oh, close, man, close. Because General Rommel was pointing the 2 guns on Tobruk. He pointed. Because he said, well, I mean, to see General Rommel is something bigger. He was a famous bloke. No, I forgot that part, but he took a... No, he was... But they had everything under control there. The Germans had everything. They were building a crossing so the troops could walk through, because I think there were ditches as deep as this that you had to cross. And they were building bridges over them, you know. Because you couldn't, well, they were not quite as deep, they were as deep as this window.
So you have to go in
So
and out again.
And they were wide, you know, so that you couldn't jump across them. And they were building bridges there, the Germans, when we were there. They just had a few planks that the few odd prisoners that they were taking were walking across, and they were building the proper bridges so that the troops could walk across. And the minute we got to the other side, the Italians took everything that we had here. I had a few chocolates that I'd got from the British, and they took everything, money, everything. No, we didn't have much time for them. But afterwards they were all right once we got to know them in Italy. They were all right. Excuse me. But I've been talking, it's your turn now.
You tell me that story now.
But let me get it right first. Okay, I think I think I can get it right. I just come back from my POW leave, and I reported back to East London for duty in East London. And I was walking down the street, and a lady said to a friend, "There is a young man that, instead of walking around as if he owned East London, that should be up north with the 6th Division instead of walking around East London." With that, I turned and I walked straight back to the officers and said, "Oh, get me a ticket. I want to go up back to Pretoria." With that, they did, and I went back to Pretoria and went north again. Short and sweet, but that's what happened.
Okay.
When our POW leave was over, we decided that we'd meet. 6 of us decided that we'd meet in Joburg at a certain tea room and have a chat, which we did. And while we were sitting there, a lady got up from a table and came and put a white feather on our table and said, "Instead of enjoying yourselves here, you should be up north with the 6th Division and doing your stuff up there instead of enjoying it yourselves in the tea rooms here." Well, with that, we just sat there for a while, and eventually the one chap said, "Well, listen, I think we must do something about this." So I went there, and he took his feather, and he went to the ladies, and he said, "Ladies, have you heard about some ex-prisoners of war being released in Italy and all over?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, we'd like you to know that we are some of those ex-prisoners of war, and this is our first get together since we're back from leave, and thank you very much. Here is your white feather. Thank you very much," and put it down there for them. And that's a true story. That is just an example of when people talk out of turn. They don't know anything about anybody, and they just talk when they see somebody that they don't even know and pass remarks like that. Thank you.
They're judging without having the facts.
Quite, thank you.
One of the remarkable South African soldiers of the Second World War, Butler Van de Vyver, may he rest in peace. And thank you, Legacy viewers, for watching.